Welcome everybody to the spoiler review for Thanksgiving. If you have not seen the movie, back out. We have a non-spoiler up on the channel, so check that out if you don't want to know. But if you do, if you've seen the movie or you just don't care about spoilers, we are here to break down all the kills, who the big killer is, and the various twists and turns of Eli Roth's Thanksgiving. So the kills, Peter, they're just immaculate, I think. This movie has such a good, just sadistic treatment of its victims. First one that comes to mind, the Black Friday sequence.
Yeah, I was going to say start with the Black Friday because that is just tremendous. And I think we said at the time at the cinema, the opening scene is very much like Final Destination in terms of that setting up of you can almost see what's coming next. There are some absolutely vile bits in that.
Yeah, there's various people getting stepped on and arms crushed and stuff like that, but this was one of the parts both of us are going to wince the hardest at. There's a bit where a woman gets her hair caught in a trolley and just it peels off like it's just, it's just,
Yeah, so she gets smacked in the head with a trolley and then she's stuck on the ground and the trolley wheel goes over her hair. And it reminded me a little bit of that scene from the recent Evil Dead movie. That again made me wince. Do you know the opening sequence where I think someone's hair gets ripped off in the lake house? Yeah. Practical effects. Do you know, no CGI to be seen really. Even when the guy's arm gets stamped on and you see his wrist shatter, it's all practically done, you know, and I'm there for it. It looked great. Oh, and there was the guy when they're pushing through the door, his neck jars into the bit of glass.
I forgot about that one. All slow and everything, and he's looking at that was
He's bleeding from the neck, dying, and he's still grabbing his bargain, isn't he?
Yeah, this movie has a really great kind of twisted sense of humor, I think. The trampoline sequence. This is a bit where there's a girl jumping up and down on a trampoline, and first off, her boyfriend is
we're here to watch these people die, and I didn't like many of them. Not that they were bad characters, it's just, you know, that I didn't.
Yeah, they're purposely unlikable because we're rooting for the killer here.
Her boyfriend, who I think is probably one of the characters I hated most because he was an obnoxious prick. He's the bully.
He started the whole thing, the whole Black Friday.
Yeah, he started the whole thing. He just gets his neck snapped.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
I think he deserved worse than that.
Yeah, absolutely. He should have been scalped.
And I think that, you know, if you're ever jumping on a trampoline, it is something that you would imagine something came through it at the bottom and the knife sticking up.
Bouncing on the trampoline so she can't stop herself.
Is there a foot goes through it first? And then she like falls and her side goes and she's just bouncing up and down on the knife.
Now I thought she was dead at that point, but she's not, is she? Because that's who's in the fridge later on.
For wine, is it? Like John Carver's using it
as you would. He's decanting her as wine.
Tim Dillon. So he gets, is it like an egg beater through the stomach?
No, it's an electric carving knife through the chest, but then he gets his head taken off.
There's a very brief shot of that in the trailer, but yeah. And then I think like the head effects are great, and the way the villain is kind of setting up this like fucked up Thanksgiving table. This is sort of the iconic shot in the trailer of the woman in the diner who gets dipped in the water.
But the way she's dispatched totally threw me because it was so graphic. So you get all the stuff you've seen in the trailer and the fight
against the door and the skin sticks off and
and then you get her running in the parking lot and trying to climb in the bin.
And then he whacks the car in the bin, slaps her in half, and everybody was like, whoa. This is like the first kind of really gruesome bit. Yeah, that was absolutely brilliant. I love that. Another sequence from the trailer that I think people were really hyped up for was the corn on the cobs through the years. And that poor girl really had a bad run of it.
Oh, God, yeah. Out of them all, she's probably the one that suffered the most because she gets her ears popped and then she gets her fingers lopped off on the circular saw thing.
She gets thrown onto a circular saw, and so it's like her hand, and then she like comes up and goes back down on it, and I think goes through like her chest, and
she sees her fingers go off, then she lands her belly first on the saw. That for me is one of the better written parts in terms of she gets pulled off that by her boyfriend and her intestines are falling out and he's kind of holding her, shouting to the other lady, you know, what do I do here? Tell us what to do, tell us what to do. And it's just horrible, you know?
And I also think like in a lot of these movies it's something you can imagine happening. Like if you've ever been around a buzzsaw, that's a thing you kind of think about, like yeah, what if you fell on top of it, you know? So it's gross. Yeah. There's a really amazing kind of hide and seek sequence in the school. So they go into like the arts and crafts room and there's kind of various dummies. The main girl kind of hides among them like by kind of getting on her knees. Her head is among the other ones and the killer's going looking for her. It's really tense. Really good scary kind of sequences in this movie. I think the jump scares are actually quite good as well. Like there's a lot of him popping out of nowhere, which I really enjoyed as well. The parade sequence. Now this really threw me because there is multiple shots in the trailer of like the John Carver figure in that costume at that parade, and he doesn't show up in that costume at the parade.
Great bait and switch that, I think, by the writers.
So he's in like a clown costume and he lops off the turkey's head.
That was a superb moment. That was a total shock. you know?
Yeah, I'm curious now. I want to go see it again because I'm curious to like see him earlier on. Like, is he in the parade the whole time? And he's just been right there the whole time. I think that'd be great to see. But also that leads to kind of pandemonium. And I think one of the best like shot kills of the movie. The parade float they're on is on a ship of some kind. The wood like pole at the front of the ship slams into the car and bursts out of the back of the driver's face, and his whole face just goes. It was
So the wooden plank thing hits the back of his head, doesn't it, and just explodes his face onto the windscreen. It's tremendous. And it was interesting because there were a number of scenes in this where I think we're both kind of visibly kind of went, whoa, you know, because it was like rough.
and that's why I love in horror movies, when you're just like, oh, that's a rough one.
So there's the obviously there's there's the mother in the oven.
I actually think the kill itself, like obviously I think, if that was happening to you, that's obviously horrible. Going into the movie, I think that was one I was dreading. I was like, that's going to be horrific. But like, they don't go as hardcore with it as I think they could have. You could have had her like eyes kind of popping and stuff like that, and they didn't. It's kind of over quite quickly. What really got me is in the sequence after that, he's captured various characters and they're sitting around the table, and he brings her out like done up like a turkey and then cuts a piece off of her.
Yeah, off a thigh, doesn't he? And he's going to make the husband eat it, isn't he?
Yeah. Everyone was just gagging. So.
Yeah, and the kill at the table as well as the other guy whose head gets caved in with the mallet thing just pops.
The big reveal at the end of the movie, Peter, the killer, is Patrick Dempsey, who is the kind of sheriff character in the movie.
Would you say he's the biggest actor in the movie as well, the most well-known actor?
Well, Addison Rae is the lead actress in this. She's like the 4th most followed person on TikTok. She's like super famous. Tim Dillon's like fairly famous, but Patrick Dempsey's the one, like when I saw the trailer for the first time, I was like, oh, Patrick Dempsey, I like him. Walking in the movie, I turned to you and said, I bet it's Patrick Dempsey. I had no basis for that belief, but just judging on the fact that he's like a well-known actor, I'm like, it's probably going to be him. And yeah, sure enough, it was. I think he has a really great maniacal performance at the end of this movie, very Scream-esque, where he's just kind of going around on his own. I like how the shoe drops and she cops that it was him. I thought was really well done as well.
He is great in it, don't get us wrong, but as soon as you lose the costume and the mask, I lose a bit of interest in the killer. Do you know what I mean? Which is a bit of a shame. We do get a good bait and switch where they try and imply it's a different person.
For most of the movie, I was fairly certain it was him. I suppose at a part I was kind of thinking, oh, well, we have more characters than I was expecting in this.
And I was watching it once that happened, thinking, I know like you were, that this has been set up for lots of sequels and things like that. And you've got 2 sequel opportunities there, haven't you? You've got the fact that, you don't actually see him die. Don't they say they couldn't find him at the end?
They do. There is a shot where it very purposely shows like various firemen walking out of the building. So it's like he could be, and that would be taking a cue from like My Bloody Valentine, where that's how the killer kind of gets away, is in a rescuer's
He's
outfit.
also hopefully been horrifically burnt, so anybody can pick up this role going forward.
That said, I think Patrick Dempsey, why not have him? But also, like, you don't even need him to take the mask off in the next one. Like, and they have kind of a modulated voice that the character uses on the live streaming.
I was very much thinking Scream, where it's kind of managed to link
Different killer every time.
Yeah, but it's linked the killer to the original story in so many different ways. And we did see at one point when he was telling his rationale for doing it, that he was in love with the woman who got the hair ripped off. And there's a very clear shot of a scan of a baby. So I thought, oh, so Hasha had the baby and that's going to be a killer in the future. Do you know what I mean? You killed my parents and all that kind of stuff.
Thanksgiving 7. It's turkey time.
Yeah, it's turkey time. Trademark that now. We'll have that, yeah.
Thanks, Eli. We'll take your money.
But you don't know how long ago that was. You don't know how long ago that baby could have been born. How long has this affair been going on?
Oh, I suppose.
Scream stretches it, doesn't it? Do you know what I mean? I'm your brother's cousin's sister of the person that slept with your mum once on holiday. So they'll probably be trying to build a franchise around this in the same way, that there's lots of links to it.
That in its own way, you do fun homages to those kind of hokey reveals at the end of the movies, in the way that this kind of homages those kind of crappy Scream knockoffs that came out, So I'd be game for that. Could be Patrick Dempsey, could be another character takes on the John Carver mantle. We also get this kind of fake out ending of him on fire, like trying to grab her. I was a bit jarred with that. I was like, whoa, I wasn't expecting that. Again, I think that's very I Know What You Did Last Summer. So overall, yeah, this is a fantastic slasher movie. I think there's so many different places you can go with a sequel. Absolutely love this.
I thoroughly enjoyed it. I think there's some great kills in it. It's not a masterpiece, but then I don't think movies like What You Did Last Summer and stuff like that are. Do you know what I mean? It's of its genre, if that makes sense.
It knows what it is, and it does a perfect job being that. If you're a slasher fan, you'll love this.
It's a fun movie, great practical effects, interesting storyline, and I think, as you said, James, that this character, the mask, the hat and everything, it's got a good look to it. It could be iconic.
A new higher icon, man. I'm telling you.